What is the intelligence behind a decision by President William Ruto to order CS Duale to roll out a program where military personnel are supposed to be deployed in different counties in this country? Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at this deeply, and I've tried to put up a very good research in connection to this. So kindly watch to the end. This is the bold analysis, and kindly just confirm the subscription and subscribe for those who have not subscribed. Thank you very much for those who are supporting these podcasts from every part of this world. Last Friday, when appearing in the Senate Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations, Defense CS Duale announced plans at an advanced stage to devolve the military personnel countrywide in what he says is to address emerging security threats in the country. And while he did not unveil, or rather he did not reveal the counties that are going to be beneficiaries, the first counties that are going to be beneficiaries of this project, of this plan, we need to agree and we need to put it clear that it's coming amidst the 1 year reign of the new CDF, Francis Ogolla. It is days after he was sworn in office, and this decision is not a pedestrian talk. It must come from, it's a high profile decision that must be informed by top-notch intelligence, and also it must also be looking at the issues of effectiveness of the military personnel in conducting some of this. From Shakahola to the North Rift operation, President William Ruto is a man that looks to be let down by men he trusts.
Mashule karibu 15 hayajafunguliwa. Tukiongea magari ya polisi imechomwa juzi kule Turkana. Na ndio leo nimeambia waziri wa defense, nimeambia waziri wa internal security waketi chini, hiyo area yote ambaye tuko nayo na matatizo, tumesema from tomorrow everybody mwenye ako na bunduki ambayo sio halali, ambayo hajapatiwa na serikali, they must surrender in 3 days. Na tumesema kwa sababu wale watu wamekuwa wajeuri.
I want us to look at the compelling reasons behind this, because this is not something that has just been made. It is not just something coming over the moon, because we've had military for over time. You know, sometime back in this country, there was not in the neighboring country of Uganda, there are some tactics where Idi Amin Dada could actually give the police, the military police uniform, and they will be unleashed in the population. We've had our own lapses as a country for the last few months during William Ruto's reign, even though we need to appreciate the fact that the military men are very effective. I know many might have seen, many look at the uniformed men as just those in the service of protecting the borders. But it's also something on development. They also have a lot of activities. They also have a lot of activities that are going on, even construction of hospitals and other. They do a lot of other projects, and there are a lot of other projects that they can do. Now, there have been the corridor talks, and Mogocho MP once exposed the need to decentralize the military, and he really questioned how some contingent of police were in a position to go and rescue, of bandits went and rescued one of their own in the 10 hospital. He questioned about the training aspects and whether it matches the training environment, whether it really matches the areas of work, the workstations. So there is that clip that emerged. I wanted to get that so that you get a bearing on this before I delve deep into the compelling reasons behind this move.
Hii maneno iko hapa chini, mambo ya insecurity. It is a very serious challenge. I want to ask each and every stakeholder who can play part in looking for peace to take their part. Kuna kitendo imefanyika kule Iten. Bandit wameenda wakachukua, bandit mwingine alikuwa ameshikwa akaeka hospitali. Wakaenda wakachukua kwa hospitali by force na kumwepesha. We want to ask the military, sababu hata ile risasi inatumiwa kule ni ya polisi wenyewe. Wale polisi wanaenda operation wanapiga risasi 2-3 na wanarudi wamesema wametumia risasi 1000, wanauza hiyo ingine kwa majambazi na majangili. Na kuna kwanza IG mwenye kazi yake ni kukuwa na kiburi mingi huko Nairobi, anaitwa IG Koome. Usianze kwenda barabara ya Mutiamba ya kiburi. Saidia watu wetu ambao shida ya insecurity ili tuweze kuishi kama watu wenye wanaishi na Kenya nyeko na haki na kila mtu anaishi kwa usawa.
Now, I was showing you those two clips, that of William Ruto and this, to show you that bit of the context, so that even though the Waziri is not telling us counties, but you can make your own calculated guesses. I want to say this. William Samoei Ruto is just picking Uhuru Kenyatta template in Nairobi under the effectiveness of NMS, under General Bandi, and how it really accelerated his scorecard towards the end of his second term. There is something that happened in Uhuru Kenyatta's second term. When William Ruto break away, there was that William Ruto breakaway, and he went full mode on his campaign. And because those who were in government, there are quite a number that had came to government through the William Ruto's route, he realized that there was internal sabotage, runaway corruption. And remember Uhuru Kenyatta saying that country was even losing 2 billion a day. So what they decided to do, and especially even in Nairobi, which was the capital city where Uhuru Kenyatta will actually be judged, he opted to bring the NMS. And that NMS reports, people even say that even in ministries, they deployed he picked people from the military and brought them to the public service. He picked quite a number and brought them to the public service. They were acting there as accelerators, and they were also his own spies. And that's how he managed to do things that he did in Nairobi. So when he realized that there was big sabotage and he could not do, and his term was coming to an end, he brought in the military. Actually, in the last term, the last 2 years of Uhuru Kenyatta reign, he entirely worked with the military, because those who were supposed to spearhead his agenda were politically inclined and were just looking at the next regime. Though this was highly criticized by William Ruto, but what I'm seeing is that immediately he settled in office, the advisors looked at the files and looked at the success of NMS and what other agencies were doing, even other ministries are doing. And they've realized that the concept of the NMS was a big success. It's because there was a military man that was sitting in that project. I looked at Nairobi terminus. I wanted to look at the facelift in Uhuru Park and even Nairobi CBD, and the construction of the sub-county hospitals in these different slums in Nairobi that Uhuru was launching even at night. Though some of those projects were done under direct supervision of General Badi, who was a military man. Now, from what I am seeing, William Ruto has also realized that what Uhuru Kenyatta did is what made him achieve maybe 20% of what he did in the second term. So what he's realizing, because he might be surrounded by men and women who are a bit incompetent or are more politically inclined, he might run the risk of even getting to the end of first term without anything tangible to show the people. So he could be deciding to leave the public service layer a bit and leverage on the military competence, effectiveness, and the capital, the human resource in the military, to at least do something at the other, from the other counties, so that he would make a change towards the end in this first term. And I can tell you, if that is the template, then he's totally right, and he will be indicted that the criticism against Uhuru Kenyatta, and I remember Uhuru Kenyatta really faced criticism that he was militarizing the country. By that time, I think William Ruto was on the other side of the opposition. So he was really criticized. But in the fullness of time, that is what is happening here. Because one thing here is the military is not just for protection, it's also for other community development. That's also one of the biggest strengths, by the way. I normally check their documentaries, and they're very interesting documentaries on how they do their things. Secondly, President William Ruto has faced the reality. And the reality here is that there is state capture by the local security ranks to address the security threats. And I want to speak exclusively the perspective of the North Rift. The North Rift has been a big flop, according to my understanding. Recently, just over the other day, there is a story of how another 200 heads of cattle were stolen. So I even ask myself a simple, you just wonder, it's a puzzle you can't understand. This is a place where we've deployed a multi-agency operation, policing, some military personnel there, even though they were big push and pull on who is leading who. For bandits to steal 200 heads of cattle, first, these 200, where are they moving that can't be intercepted? 200 is also moving at a very slow speed. They're not running. The cows are just moving at a very low pace. So even where are they going to be hidden that the government and the security personnel cannot intercept? You look at it and I remember what Trans Nzoia Governor Natembeya told William Ruto, that those people around you you are planning on how to counter banditry are the same people that are spies and they're actually aiding the problem. So William Ruto might have decided that in the wake of this, the local security ranks that are supposed to help arrest some of these situations cannot. And maybe decide that, okay, fine, after the audit of the problem, we need then to deploy. I am not a prophet, but it is hard to disagree that North Rift counties are likely the ones that are going to be the starting point if that deployment is going to be done. Now, the other thing you cannot underestimate is there could be a deep strategy being laid to suppress political agitation in the country, in the population, amidst the unrests. We have a lot of unrest going on. The doctors, the civil servants are really complaining. They have given 4 days notice. Otherwise, they trade, look, redress. There is also the political agitation on the political wing that is going on. And the visibility of the military. I'm not saying that you can deploy them. No, I don't think that is, you cannot break the law because that is against the law. I don't think you will get into that limit. but just the visibility, just an understanding that some military guys are around is enough suppression, is a psychological suppression. You know, I want you to imagine where you are somewhere in Mogotio and, you know, the you have just an understanding that military men are around. You can't joke. Already, it's already some psychological suppression. So that could also be play. Someone said Moi will use, is it Idi Amin? 70 tactics in Uganda. I don't think we've gotten to that. Kenya is more advanced. I may also be wrong by thinking that Kenya is more advanced. Now, our borders could be porous. And the porosity of our borders is in the wake of turbulence in even Sudan. In fact, our borders are porous this way. Remember, sometimes citizens did an expose, an investigative story about the cost of guns. You always wonder, where do these bandits get guns? They don't get these guns from Nairobi. These guns pass across the border. So throughout, when they just realized, probably they gave moment to surrender, they've tried to do investigations and audit of the guns they're collecting, you may be shocked to realize that quite a number of them are coming across the border from the neighboring countries. And also bit of looking at even our borders in terms of smuggling of weaponries and even other dark markets, even the dark markets where a lot of things thrive. So there is a probability that William Ruto has realized that those people are people who are taking advantage and maybe are then smuggling some illicit goods and weaponries in the country. That's why he's decided that, look here, that is already a security threat. I also see something on intelligence lapses. So when this deployment might also serve as a boost the intelligence vigilance, because the country is still asking, how did the Shakahola massacre thrive for all those years and all those months without the interception of the intelligence? Didn't they know? I talked to someone told me, Kevin, it cannot miss that dragnet. They knew was something going on. There is just some lapses. And maybe the state has realized that what is in Shakahola could be modern day terrorism. You know, you never know. Maybe this kind of indoctrination is a situation where what used to happen before, they've then infiltrated and used the Christian and vulnerability of the communities there to penetrate, or rather to compromise people's religion standing by spreading such misleading messages to the population. So I think it's something that looks like a welcome call, but then it's a matter of wait and see to see how it goes. If it will be one of the flagship changes of Lieutenant Ogolla as a CDF, will be something to look at. But I promise you today I have an interesting analysis on General Tonje. So make sure you Tonje rules. Make sure you watch this video. I'll produce that video late night. So make sure you subscribe and follow to the call. Asanteni.